Yes, there's hardship, but how did we get here? What did we do when we had very high production? We neglected our communities. We neglected the goose that lays the golden egg. We forget to even give them common, decent standard of living. We forget to educate our children.
One thing I like about Bola Ahmed Tinubu is his sincerity to admitting that there is hardship in Nigeria. This is not the first time he's admitting the hardship in Nigeria. Bola Ahmed Tinubu has always been vocal about how the people in Nigeria are suffering. And of course, I like him for that. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, just like every other Nigerian politician, they don't admit that they are the cause of the hardship we're experiencing in this country. Now look at the question he's asking. How did we get here? How did we get to where we are? We got to where we are today because we have someone like Bola Ahmed Tinubu who did not know how to manage a nation's resources. We got to where we are today because we have politicians like Bola Ahmed Tinubu whose sole aim of going into politics is to make money, is to satisfy their personal craving ahead of fixing the problem they met on ground. Of course, we know that the problem in Nigeria did not start today. It's an age-long problem. It is a cumulative of leadership failure in this country. We've had successive government from the military regime to democratic elected leaders, but none of them has been able to put Nigeria on the pedestal that Nigeria ought to be. But however, we must give kudos to presidents like Olusegun Obasanjo, who took Nigeria away from the quagmire that she experienced under the military regime. Olusegun Obasanjo introduced a lot of economic reforms in Nigeria. During the Olusegun Obasanjo regime as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Nigeria experienced a lot of economic boom. We experienced the revitalization of the banking sector. Companies were springing up in every part of the country. What you have in Lagos today as an industrial hub of the nation is because of President Olusegun Obasanjo's economic reform in Nigeria. Our institutions were very strong. The National Assembly, the judiciary, the police. Olusegun Obasanjo created the EFCC to go after corrupt politicians. You have Olusegun Obasanjo suspending the Inspector General of Police for corruption. You have the National Assembly suspending the Senate President Choba Akadibo for mere allegation of corruption. The National Assembly equally stood our ground against President Olusegun Obasanjo's third-term ambition, even though majority of the members of the National Assembly were all PDP members. Olusegun Obasanjo laid a very solid groundwork for Nigeria economic improvement. President Yar'Adua and Goodluck Ebele Jonathan continued on that same trajectory. Even though we equally had a fair share of our problem during their tenure, like the insecurity, the Boko Haram issue in the northeast, we could not take away the fact that they did their bit to stabilize the nation's economy. For instance, it was no coincidence that Nigeria was rated the third fastest growing economy in the world alongside India, China, Dubai. It was no magic that Nigeria has the strongest economy in Africa during their tenure. Of course, like we admit, Nigeria ought to be far more better than it was during their tenure. Sharp retrogression of Nigeria started the moment Goodluck Ebele Jonathan was voted out of office by ignorant fools who felt that Goodluck Jonathan was a weak president. Yes, these were ignorant folks that were carried away by the APC propaganda machine. The folks who campaigned and voted out Goodluck Ebele Jonathan ahead of President Muhammadu Buhari were either stupid or ignorant. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan is a far better leader than President Muhammadu Buhari in all ramifications. Age, leadership qualities, being people-centric leader. If the ignorant or stupid Nigerians that voted out Goodluck Ebele Jonathan had allowed Nigeria to continue on the same trajectory of economic growth that we were experiencing under Goodluck Ebele Jonathan regime, Nigeria would have been far more better than she was now. Therefore, in every sense of reasoning, I will say that Nigeria became this bad because we voted out Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. We stagnated the growth that Nigeria was experiencing under Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Nigeria is this bad because we allow APC to take over power. Therefore, to answer Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we got where we are today because we allow APC to take over power. We allow APC to manage the nation's resources. Ever since APC took over power, Nigeria has experienced one decline or the other. There is no single policies from the APC-led government that is geared towards alleviating the suffering of the people. There is no single policies from the APC-led government that is geared towards strengthening the institution in this country. For instance, under President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, he tried to strengthen our electoral law. We experienced a free, credible, transparent election under President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan regime. To have a safe and a prosperous society, you must have a safe and credible election. Election is responsible for producing leaders that will guide or destroy your country. When you elect credible leaders, you are sure to have credible representatives that will build your country to an enviable height. When your electoral laws and election process is compromised, you will have criminals take over the leadership of your country. We have people who do not understand the concept of nation building. We have people who are not patriotic to the country become your leaders. This is what we are experiencing in Nigeria today. Our electoral laws has been destroyed. Our election processes has been compromised. This is the reason why we have a weak National Assembly that cannot scrutinize the executive arm of government. Our compromised election is the reason why we have an executive arm of government that are not responsible to the Nigerian people. They are only responsible to themselves. That is the reason why you have someone like President Muhammadu Buhari using part of our crude oil to go and borrow money. Not only did President Muhammadu Buhari use our crude oil to borrow money, he borrowed money that will be paid in a moratorium of 50 years. That means he might not even be alive for this debt to be repaid. You and I, living today, will be the one to pay the debt that President Muhammadu Buhari borrowed. And the most unfortunate aspect of it is that the money that was borrowed was not invested in key infrastructure that will boost the nation's economy. This money was looted and relooted by the people in government. And most of you are asking, why are we having fuel scarcity? You are asking, why are we buying fuel for 1,300, 1,400? The reason is because your resources, your major resources, the crude oil, was used to borrowed money. This is one of the consequences of having a flawed election. And of course, President Muhammadu Buhari is no longer the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We have Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He is admitting that there is hardship in the land. But what is so funny is him asking, how did we get here? Of course, it's part of the reason how we got here. President Tinubu made a bad situation on ground when he came on board as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And he made everything worse. His economic policies has made everything he made on ground worse. The fuel subsidy, the interest rate, the taxes that have all been introduced by this administration are done without having the people in mind. No nation survived by taxes. No nation survived by increasing interest rate. All these things are meant to stifle economic growth. When you increase your taxes and interest rate, you are killing production. Bola Ahmed Tinubu is saying that we do not take care of our production. There is no production in Nigeria anymore. Bola Ahmed Tinubu has killed every productive sector in this country. You have businesses folding up. You have businesses folding up and leaving the country. You have young businesses crashing. It is because of the bad economic policies of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. What exactly is the benefit of removing the fuel subsidy? The fuel subsidy has had more pain and suffering upon Nigerians. The subsidy removal has even led to scarcity of fuel. Nigerians are paying more without even having the product available. I don't really expect President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to look himself in the mirror and tell himself the truth that I am even the major cause of the problem that we are experiencing in this country. Because for the fact that he understands that there is problem, it is very easy to solve the problem. But how come he's unable to solve the problem that he understands? The answer is very simple. He do not understand the solution. That is because he did not even talk about the solution. We are talking about a man that did not hold a single debate to defend his manifesto. We are talking about a man that did not tell Nigerians what he is going to do when he gets into office. We are talking a man that did not allow himself to be scrutinized. He does not know the solution. And that is the reason why we are where we are today. That is the reason why we are worse off than we were before he took over power. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.